Removal of the karmic body, why healing is never ending, and why do we seek to remove the karmic body? What is the karmic body? What is its significance to the reincarnation cycle, to the karmic energy body, and to the being that we are, supreme sovereign beings? I am going to talk about my journey with this treatment which is known as the removal of the karmic body, together with my experiences of ayahuasca and my journey that I'm having right now, with this removal of the karmic body. So I'll be giving information from my own self, from the wonderful lady that provided and performed this removal of the karmic body on myself, excuse me, and 3 others, and how we can all move forward with our growth, with our spiritual growth, with our vibrational growth, and with our energy growth, and connecting to source in the most direct and profound way. So I'll start with who I am, and I'm a healer. I'm a Reiki master healer, and I also am a professional assessor for adults with regard to developing their skills and attributes in the workplace. And I was looking for something very particular. I had heard about ayahuasca from friends and colleagues a few years ago, and I had always, this year especially, I had wanted to participate and experienced ayahuasca for the first time, and see how that could help me and my growth and in my life at the moment. So I knew that I was looking for something very direct, very specific to my needs at the moment. So I was looking. I was looking for. Sorry, I'll go back a bit again. I was researching on the internet and looking through literature and talking with people who have been through ayahuasca. So I was absorbing all this information, all the videos, the reading, the websites, the literature. Again, talking to others that had experienced ayahuasca, and it was finding the right person, finding the right place that sat well with me. And I kept coming across South America, and I kept thinking, I wasn't able to make the journey to South America, so it was okay. So if I'm unable to get to South America, then or Central America, then I need to find somewhere in Europe. And I'm from London. I was born there, and I've lived there most of my adult life. I was listening to people that had pros and cons against experiencing ayahuasca outside of South or Central America. But I kept on searching, kept on reading about other people's experiences around the world, in Asia, in Australia, New Zealand, all over the place. So I was looking for something with regard to my professional status, with my professional career, and I came across this website regarding a healer called Hannah, who performed ayahuasca ceremonies in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. And there was also another website that I came across, and healers there were also providing ayahuasca ceremonies. I read through the website literature of Hannah's and the other organisation, and there was something, and I looked at the videos, and I looked at the references that they were making with regard to, where to look into more to arm yourself with better knowledge and information. And there was just something about this particular website of Hannah's that attracted me, and it felt right. So I went back to her website at least two more times, reading through what she had on there. Before on my first visit, I just skimmed through the basics. I was doing kind of testimonials, and that was it. And then I went back again and read through some of the links, and then I went through a third time, and I went through every single link that she has in that page, and I just absorbed the information regarding the whys and wherefores, and who she was and why she did what she did. And I actually did this with the other website as well, with the other provider of ayahuasca ceremonies. So I communicated with both, and I just felt that for me, Hannah was the one that I wanted, that I was more drawn towards. And not only was she providing ayahuasca ceremonies, but she was also providing holistic healing treatments and ceremonies and workshops. So for me, when I read about what she was providing, it just hit the nail on the head. It was the ayahuasca, my first experience, and it was also the other packages that she had, which you could also tap into, which she could also give to you. So I decided then that I would take, and I needed a particular package that suited me, because I just felt as though I needed it for whatever reason. So I communicated with Hannah, and I enrolled, and I booked and my ayahuasca ceremony. Plus, I booked a deprogramming healing session, and a removal of the karmic body, and clearing and cleansing, and possibly closure of my chakras. So all of this in one weekend in Amsterdam. So you can imagine, pretty intense, full on. But I just felt that I could handle it, and it was what I was looking for. It just felt right. So I made the initial contact, and this is where I am now. So on Saturday, the 11th of June 2016, I went through this ceremony, the ayahuasca ceremony, with Hannah and her assistants, and there were 6 ladies and 6 chaps at this the whole for the whole event. An equal number of masculine and feminine energy. And Hannah can only perform 4 ceremonies, four treatments, because it really is empowering, and it takes a lot of it's intense. It takes a lot of, not only of her, but it can have a profound impact on the 4 people that go through this. So I made the appointment, arrived on the Friday before the day. I did the fasting, which is pretty hard to do in a foreign country, because you really want to eat and taste the food. So I did the fasting before. Prior to that, Hannah did give some paperwork with regard to what you can and cannot eat if you're on any medication, and what state of mind are you in. So it was pretty informative. But I also looked at what other people were providing with regard to their pre journey with ayahuasca and treatments. So I had a fairly comprehensive list of do's and don'ts prior to at least 10 days or 4 weeks or 2 weeks prior to having ayahuasca. So I was preparing my body with specific foods and a good frame of mind, and I had my intentions. I actually wrote them out, and I came back to them every now and again to rewrite them, so that by the time the day that I was traveling to Amsterdam, I was reading through my intentions, and making sure that it felt right with me. So I prepared myself mentally, psychologically, and physically. I did the fast, and the 24-hour fast in Amsterdam, and then I attended on the Saturday. And Hannah was fantastic. She went through, she had an altar, and she showed us what the ayahuasca plant looked like. and what the other things on her altar were, and why she used them, and how they helped her. And she was informative as to what she was doing, why she was doing, and the benefits of it, not only for herself and to protect herself and the space, but also for those that were in the room also. And she was always looking for feedback from everyone in the room, and always making sure that she was alert and her assistants were alert, and taking care of our well-being. So that was a wonderful, it was an intense experience, a wonderful, intense experience, but good, really good, solid good. And then there was, and then when it finished, then she would say, then try to ease yourself into the next day or the next couple of days. This is what you should really be eating or looking out for. So it was good. It was good advice, good feedback, good karma, very informative. Yeah, and I felt safe, secure. And for me, I connected with her greatly prior to attending the actual weekend, the actual day with her. It was from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 11 o'clock at night. So it was a real 11 o'clock at night. So it was a real full-on day, a real full day. Yeah, and then there was the post meditations to help ease you, as these treatments were continually working to help develop your energies and clear and clarify the bodies. So I'm going to disclose information and feelings and experiences of myself further, but also information that Hannah gave to all those that were at the event. Those that weren't able to have the treatments, and those that were able to have the treatments. So during very deep meditations with and without ayahuasca, it was revealed to Hannah and her assistants, who are also healers, and also to people that are healers around the world, who are very careful about what they do and what information that they trust, about what the karmic body is actually, what the intention of the karmic body is, and that it's from the world of evil and darkness, where the karmic body had been created eons ago, and placed into the human energy field to manipulate and control us. The original human body did not have a karmic body and was directly connected to the Creator without interferences. Now, in essence, we're all creators, we're all God, and we're all supreme sovereign beings. And we all connect to divine source, and we all connect to our higher selves. And this is what our original human, our beings were originally like. And it was revealed to, again, Hannah and her assistants and other healers, that we as human beings are far better off without a karmic body. In this special time where we are right now, it is possible to remove the karmic body from our energy system and be completely liberated from karma, past lives, genetic makeup, and the matrix. And the matrix, in its simplistic terms, is a veil of very low frequencies over the planet. It's an energetic prison from very low vibrational frequencies, which prevents the light of God to enter this realm. The removal of the karmic body is a very, very, very powerful technique, and it works with pure high divine light. It works with the light of God. And remember that we, in essence, are God. We're creators, we're supreme beings, we're sovereign, we're powerful, and we connect direct to divine source, the higher divine levels. as our rights as gods. And working with a powerful technique that works with this pure light of God, with our light of God also, is there to help remove any unhealthy energy forms. And so after I had my removal of the the karmic body on Saturday the 11th of June 2016, and it takes, after the removal, on that day, that was my day of the removal, it takes 2 weeks for the old energy system to adapt into the new energy. So I'm about 9 days into this, and so I have about 4 days until there is this completion of the energy that I will be tapped into 100%. And now, removing of the karmic body, for some people, has a profound effect on the mind, and it can also take away certain DNA structures that were imprinted. For others, it can take a bit longer, and for others, they need another technique to take away this DNA imprint, this negativity from the mind. But it's different for everyone. So during these ceremonies, these workshops, these holistic healing, this whole time that I spent with Hannah, we were shown, people that were in the room were shown how to deprogram the mind with a specific technique. And I will show you in another video what this technique is to deprogram entities and imprints from the mind. So it's an extra added resource, an extra added tool that you can use for yourself in your own time, whenever you want to. And it is specific to you. No two deprogramming practices or experiences are the same, because no one lives, I don't live in your body and you don't live in mine. So whatever I'm going through is unique and different to me, and whatever you're going through is unique and specific and yours. So what is the karmic body? The karmic body is a non-physical component of your spirit, which attaches to your soul energy at birth. The interacting flow of energy with your body has the greatest influence in your current life. Your karmic body has imprints of all your soul's recorded information of your rights and wrongs. The karmic body is the gas in your tank of life. It comes with special additives and components from other lifetimes. It is karma energy that connects us to family, friends, love connections, and experiences within the life we live today. The karmic body influences your genetic makeup. It interfaces with your thoughts, it interfaces with your emotions, and additionally, it infiltrates all your heart and interdimensional connections, aligning with your higher self. The karmic body is a very, very, very dense, energetic, non-physical body aligned with the spine. Out from the karmic body extends non-physical webbing that interconnects and flows out energy information into the spinal area. This spinal area contains the 7 major chakras. Now, I'm not going to go through what the 7 major chakras are. There are more than a plethora, a myriad of information, videos, literature, books, forums on chakras and the whys and wherefores, what they are, where they're positioned, what they do, and also the chakras beneath your base chakra and the chakras above your crown chakra. So you can look on the internet and you can discuss with other people that do cleansing, clearing, and healers at your will to find out more about chakras if you don't already know about it. So the spinal area contains the 7 major chakras, the Kundalini channel, the channel of Shakti power, the meridians, the nadis, the nerve centers controlling our bodies, and the biomagnetics of your physicality. Our interconnection to our physical body, the world, and other people is constantly flowing out from and into our web roots, linking to our karmic body. Our karmic body carries a mirror blueprint into our earth life, into our life here on earth, infecting the physical body and genetic DNA problems and karmic influence from past lives. When healers are and those that work with pure light to help clear and cleanse people's energies, when we're healing people and also when we're healing ourselves, we are always healing the karmic body. And this is why healing is never ending, because all the time that we're healing and all and all the time that we're healing, we're bringing purity, freshness, light into that area. But then new karma and new programming takes place. So then further healing is needed. So once the healer is working on a client or a family member or friend or whoever, and they clear out all the crap that needs to be cleared, then there's an empty space, a nice, clear, fresh, clean, wonderful, pure empty space. And it's that empty space that all these negativity energies and all these and negative entities, negative beings want to fester in, want to live in and attach themselves to. So you're constantly healing yourself, and it's advisable when you're a healer. When I was being trained as a healer, we're told, heal yourself every day. And when you're so tired with work and everything else that life has to throw at you, sometimes you just don't find the time to heal yourself every single day. But that's the reality of it. When you heal someone and you do it with good intentions and you know what you're doing and you work with pure light, then this lovely pureness that you've created for someone else gets taken over by these negative entities. They do it time and time and time and time and time again. So in the karmic body, so it's in the karmic body where all the demonic attachments and possessions are located. So to remove the karmic body will also remove all the demons, all the attachments, all the possessions, all the negative entities, all the implants. And the most important thing is that without a karmic body, we are liberated from the reincarnation cycle. The reincarnation cycle is a very unfair system, and it has no justice. It takes no prisoners. At the moment, there are around 7 billion people living on this planet Earth, give or take a few million or so. And we're all living in an energy of fear, in an energy of despair, in an energy of hunger, in an energy of hate, war, in an energy of lack of love, lack of money, lack of consciousness, lack of free will, lack of anything and everything that you are experiencing right here in the here and now, yesterday, today, tomorrow. We're all experiencing this. So altogether, we generate an enormous, vast amount of negative energy from which the world of evil and darkness lives, in which it feeds itself, in which makes them powerful. We are functioning as their batteries. Now, I don't know about you, but I have no need. I have no want. I have no desire to function as a battery for anything or anyone. And this is all done against the will of God and against our free will. And remember that we are God, we are creators, we are supreme, sovereign, powerful beings. So it's done against our will. We are God. Nothing that happens on this planet is a coincidence or meant to be. All the corruption, all the suffering, all the pain, all the wars, the violence, the hunger, the cruelty, and the diseases are purposely created by the world of evil and darkness. And we are all puppets on a string that are played out against each other. We do it every second, we do it every minute, we do it every hour, we do it every day, we do it every week, we do it every month, we do it every year. Some people are happy to live like that, are happy to be blinkered, are happy to be blindfolded, are happy to be blinded by others and play these games willy-nilly. They couldn't care less what strife or pain the other person is going through. But there are others who are learning and breaking free and are cutting the strings that are making them puppets. And these numbers are growing. Before the arrival of beings of evil and darkness on the planet Earth, the human spirit returned directly to divine source after their physical death. So we were bringing back and sharing our experiences in the human body with the divine. Reptilians, Anunnaki, negative entities, negative implants wanted to prevent our return to divine source because they wanted to keep our spirits for their own goals, to enslave and use us forever as fodder. That is why they invented and created the reincarnation cycle, to bring us back all the time in a new life without possibilities to escape. The reincarnation cycle is a trap, and during all these thousands of years, very few souls were able to escape from this never-ending cycle and return to divine source. We were forced to come back life after life after life after life after life after life in endless misery and suffering. And so we were there to produce the negative energies and vibrations that the evil forces needed to survive from, or they could feed off us. And the question is, and I have asked myself this question, why could divine source not prevent this? Why could divine source not help us, not reach down and help us, give us a helping hand, enable us to be free? And one of the reasons is because the reptilians created a veil of very low frequencies over the planet, which is called the matrix. And this is an energetic prison from very low vibrational frequencies, which prevents the light of God to enter this realm. It prevents our light of God from its actions, from its use, from its purposes, to aid ourselves, to liberate ourselves, to live freely as a sovereign being, as a sovereign, powerful being that we are. So the divine source was unable to reach us through this low vibrational frequency because it was murky, it was dark, it was gooey, it was tainted. So there was this disconnect. And there still is this disconnect because not everyone is connecting to their higher self and to their supreme sovereignty, which they are. So, of course, we were manipulated and indoctrinated and told that the reincarnation was good for us. These dark entities pretended that they were our God because it was they that had recreated us. And they told us that the reincarnation cycle contained important lessons for us to learn, and so it was therefore for our benefit. to be reincarnated. But the truth is, it's that the reincarnation cycle is only good for them. We're fodder in this reincarnation cycle. We were forced to believe that Divine Source had created this cycle for us as a learning process, but this is far from the truth. So it was the reptilians and the Anunnaki and these negative entities and implants, beings that created the karmic energy body, so that we were always bound to our past lives, we're always bound to our karma, we were always bound to our forefathers, we were always bound to the imprints of our DNA, of our history, of our forefathers, of our ancestors, always bound to endless debts to pay. It is the karmic body that keeps us in the prison of the third dimensional reality with no way to escape. After the removal of the karmic body, each and every one of our spirits can return to Divine Source without being trapped in the reincarnation cycle again. It is our ultimate freedom. And it is a freedom that I have just tapped into. And I am so pleased that I have been guided to do this. It feels right, and it is right for me. There are beautiful signs that healers such as Hannah and those that do this work feel and see through these treatments. And the removal of the karmic body, and with the removal of the karmic body, healers such as Hannah around the world feel the gratitude from the person that they are helping, that they are freeing from their karmic body. They feel the gratitude from the soul, and the relief of finally being free. And not only does the healer feel, sense, and see this, but the person that the person undertaking this, having their karmic body removed, there is a sense of this. Now, for me, I felt this. It was a small feeling. It's hard to describe. It was a small feeling, but it was profound, and it was a short feeling. But there was definitely something there, and yeah, there was a feeling of relief, of being free. And it can be little emotional, knowing what you know about the karmic body and knowing that you're going to be freed from it. So it, yeah, and when you see someone working on this with you, you know how hard they're working, and they tell you what it is they see and what they're doing, and shit, God, honestly, you will for this to be freed from you. You don't want to link into this any longer than you have to be. So the connection then with the removal of the karmic body and the three main religions, and these are Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Now, these religions see human beings as sinners who have to suffer endlessly for their karmic debts. Needless to say that these three primary religions, and then there are many more religions that are offshoots of these primary religions, and there are new ones that are created, every month, and people fall into them willy-nilly. But these, in essence, these three main religions are totally corrupted by evil and darkness. And I say this without being politically correct, but I say this as someone who brought up a Catholic, from a baby, christened, went to Sunday school, Bible classes, went to Mass every Sunday. In fact, I actually wanted to be a nun when I was a child. Did the whole ritual, first Holy Communion, confirmation. Being a Catholic was the be all and end all of everything. And I believed very pro-Catholic. I believed in Catholicism well into my early adulthood. But then certain things happened in life, and I began to question religion, Catholicism. Society changed, the world changed, and things weren't gelling, not only around the world, but also with myself, and things that were happening to my family members and also to friends and colleagues. So I began to question hard as to why all these things were happening. And yeah, so we only have to look in history and in current times right now, in the here and now, how many people are still and had been massacred and murdered and kept under an intense, aggressive situation, psychologically and physically. And it's in the name of these religions and all other religions that are offshoots of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And it's clear that something is very, very, very wrong in their opinions and practices. But it takes some people a lifetime, maybe on their deathbed, that they realize that this is wrong. But at least they realized it. But then there are some that refuse to, like how I was when I was younger, who just refuse that there's anything wrong with being a Catholic or Christian or a follower of Judaism or Islam. Each to their own. You find the truth, but you want to find the truth. You follow the following that you want to follow. That's all that this comes down to. But look at the world and look at what the teachings are, and look at the church and those that follow the church and those that profess to work for the good of the people in churches. The only exception to a degree is Buddhism, and Buddhism comes closest to the views of pure energy, and it's linked to the removal of the karmic body, and because of that, it's less corrupted. And in Buddhism, it states that life is suffering and that reincarnation is an endless cycle of the same suffering, and it's known as the wheel of samsara. And this can be broken by spiritual practices and transformation of consciousness. There is a millennia-old Tibetan book of the dead, and it's a manual that monks use, and they use it to ascertain how they can escape reincarnation by liberation of the consciousness. So the monks knew this information already for an extremely long time, but the masses, the poor, were kept hidden from this. Why should the masses or the poor know? Why should they be elevated up to the high divine, to the higher self? And it's the same with religion. The hierarchy, the cardinals, the imams. Why should the masses, the poor people, the ordinaries, the commoners, why should they be privy to all the sacred texts, pure sacred texts that they use to elevate themselves, but they palm us off with crap, which keeps us in this reincarnation cycle? So for many different reasons, Divine Source has now given us, in this very special time of mass awakening and liberation, more adequate tools to liberate humanity in much faster ways. And the years 2016 and 2017 are crucial for this transformation. So healers like Hannah around the globe are working right now with totally new systems of energy healing, and more spiritual information from the highest divine level is leveled and revealed to us, to bring into this world new systems of healing, to liberate a lot of people in an easier way. The more suffering that happens to people on a mass, almost genocidal scale, the more systems are needed to heal and liberate people. So it's a fight against time, in a sense, before people are wiped out. So first, healers who do the removal of the karmic body, They remove the karmic body, and then they check the chakras to see if these are free from demonic and negative energies. And not everyone has clear, beautiful, crystal clear energies running through each and every one of their chakras. So those chakras have to be cleaned, and it's up to the individual if after they've had a cleansing and clearing of the chakras, if they wish to have their chakras closed. So right now, the greater plan is to liberate people. There's a massive movement for this. There are people that have been able to cut the strings, the puppet strings, and have elevated vibrationally and energetically to higher states, and have traveled through time dimensions. And they come back and they share their experiences, and they come back and they share new techniques that they have been given. And they then impart that knowledge into people like Hannah and myself and other people that deal with energy clearing and cleansing. But then they go back. They go back to source. They go back to higher vibrational levels to elevate themselves, because it's all about you and doing the best for you and elevating yourself in the best possible way and keeping yourself clear and pure and clarified and maintaining your superiority as a god and maintaining your sovereign right, powerful right as a god. So these people travel, many of them have a lot of out of body experiences, and they bring back a lot of information. It's up to you whether or not you receive it, what you take from it, or whether you reject it. But at least there are people that are doing that now to help us grow. And those people that are beginning to realize this are growing quicker, in a much healthier, clearer, cleaner way. So now is the time to liberate as many people as possible during the years 2016 and 2017. And these are crucial years in the liberation of humanity. And there are a lot of discussions with new healing methods and techniques, and quite rightly so, and quite rightly there should be questioning about new healing methods and techniques. And so when people are taught about energy systems in other ways, you need to remember that most of the information that has come through about our energy system in ancient texts and scriptures from India, Tibet, Egypt, the Middle East, or South America is corrupted by forces of evil and darkness to misguide, manipulate, and enslave us. So there may well be maybe 1% of truth, but everything else is shrouded in corruption, in misguided information, manipulation, and bondage. So that we keep on this treadmill, we keep on this wheel of reincarnation. And this is because we're not, they don't want us. We should never, how dare we should find out the truth about ourselves, and return to our original human being as supreme, powerful beings. How dare we want that? No, that's not our place. So if you're ready for the removal of the karmic body, then discuss, give some feedback, use this video, this forum to help you. Those of you that have listened and have read a bit about it, but are not ready for it, then fine. You do what makes you feel best. You do what makes you feel good. It has to come from you. It has to come from inside you. You have to believe it. You have to want it. No, you have to need it. Need before want before desire. So park the idea, park the information to one place, and come back to it whenever you feel that you need it in your life. Maybe now is not the right time. Maybe now is the right time for others. Come back to it in another month. Come back to it in another 12 months. Come back to it in another lifetime if there's YouTube and this video is still here. But come back to it when you are ready for it. It's the same as for me. I was ready for it now. I was ready. I wanted this done before at the midpoint of this year. So I had to have it done by June. In fact, I needed this done by September. Because September there's going to be another shift of energy. So I needed this done before then. And then there'll be further energetic shifts towards the end of the year. And I wanted this to help me to enter into 2017. So give it some thought, share your experiences. If you've already had a removal of the karmic body, discuss, where were you before you had it? What were your circumstances? What was happening in your life that you felt you needed to have this treatment? And if you're like me, you've just had this done. Again, what were your experiences in life? Why did you want to have this done? And where do you think that it's going to change and develop you? And if you're thinking about it, what is it that you feel that you're going to benefit or gain from it? And where is it that you are in your life now? What are you going through? Traumas, relationships, barriers, blockages? What is it that you feel that the removal of the karmic body will give to you that you're not having right now? That will help to take away all the discord, all the dis-ease that's affecting you in the most profound way. So let's discuss this. Let's give each other feedback. I can only share with you this incredible liberation and transformation that I'm experiencing. Like I say, I have another 4 days, then the 2 weeks is completed. But already I'm feeling almost intuitive. I never was one for visualizations, but now I'm visualizing in a much more stronger, steady, calm way. And I'm feeling far more open to energy and receiving information than I have been in the past. Like I say, it's only 9 days since I've had the removal of the karmic body. So another 4 more days, and then that will be completed, and then it's another new road, another higher development for me. And plus, again, as I said before, I had also cleansing of the chakras, but I also had the closure of the chakras. So that's another thing as well that I'm having to integrate and develop from. So it's full on, and you know what? Bring it on! I'm ready for this. I don't know why, but I had all of this all in one go, all in one hit. So yeah, I'm ready for it. So talk to people that have experienced this, that do this treatment, and talk to others that are also thinking about taking this next stage, this next step in their lives. And one of the most beautiful parts of the removal of the karmic body, this healing method, is that it can be performed on anyone and everyone, with or without the use of ayahuasca. The divine source wants to liberate as many people as possible now, and not everyone is able to use ayahuasca. So, for example, the elderly, the very very young, sick people, and many others who have frailties or who are psychologically ill or physically ill, and are not able to use ayahuasca. So this method of the removal of the karmic body is available for every being on the planet, and in a sense, it's also available for animals. So if you're a horse whisperer, or a dog whisperer, or an animal whisperer, and you feel that you need to help animals in a much more profound way, then possibly using a removal of the karmic body could be something that you could also utilize as part of your services at veterinary surgeons or holistic centers. So this method is available to everyone on the planet, but only through specific healers. Contact them, see what they're about, and if it feels right for you, initiate a dialogue with them. In most cases, these treatments are performed without the use of ayahuasca. In fact, it's easier to perform without ayahuasca because there's less resistance from the demonic energies that you and 80% of humanity carries in your energy system. So I know that when I was having my removal of the karmic body, there was a lot of that shit going on. So it took a long time for it to be cleared. So yeah, so it was pretty full on. It was intense, but you know what? It was worth it, and I'm so fucking glad that I did it. So the next thing that I want to very briefly talk about is a bit about myself. So I'm a Reiki master healer, and as I said before, I'm also an assessor. But I'm interested in using this forum because I'm new to this, the removal of the karmic body. So I'm interested to connect with people, with others that have had traumatic and hard life experiences with blockages and barriers from wherever it has come from, and how you have managed the hurdles of life thus far. And I'm also keen to read messages from people that have experienced the removal of the karmic body and how their life has changed from it. So let us all use this as a benchmark of where we are, of where we were. That would really help before and after the removal of the karmic body. We can all learn from this and move forward with greater clarity of its effects to the mind and the body. And I, for one, have experienced homelessness in its rawest form in London. As I say, I'm originally from London, from England, and I have a professional background, and I have a university background. So it took me quite a while to realize that homelessness has no class, homelessness has no gender, homelessness has no race. It affects all equally. That was a harsh lesson learned. And I have been homeless in London since 2010, for a few years, in fact. And I sought solace and some kind of help and assistance and guidance and support from various charities and churches. And there were people there that were purportedly there to help the homeless and support them on their road to recovery. But that really is not the case. There are some really evil people in control of these charities that help the homeless. Yeah, that's another story altogether. So I left, and London is a beautiful place. You know, it can be harsh, but she is a really beautiful. She's beautiful when she wants to be. She can be soft and caring and loving. You take the rough with the smooth. But I am aware that to live in London now is a truly harsh reality. And the systems that were in place to help homeless people, to help people like myself who have had a wonderful upbringing, who have had a good education, and who have a professional background, those services, those support networks are diminishing. And people that work in social services have said to me, in, of course, strictest confidence, that they need to let a certain amount of people fall through the cracks because the resources are not there to help them. So you know, I used to say when I was younger and in my young adult life, and before I realized about the whole homelessness thing, homeless people, they bring these things on themselves. You know, there are services out there to help them. You know, it's all their own fault. They are the ones that created this for themselves. When I fell into homelessness, I realized that this was not the case. There are professional people in cities, and of course in villages and towns, who are being made homeless through no fault of their own. So now I'm in a new country with a new partner for about 8 months now. So I left London last year, 2015, and I have been here in Europe, in Germany, for about 8 months with a new partner. But now I'm going through a change, and I am about to go through homelessness again in a country where I have minimal connection to, and I'm not proficiently fluent in its language. I am an expat in dire straits, but I have faith and belief in myself to see through the nonsense from my partner, who is making me homeless on his terms. This is a tough gig, but it's another learning experience. I will let you know how I progress with this situation. At the moment, um, this situation is heading for the bottom of the barrel, with the smallest degree of assistance and the largest amount of resistance here in Germany. So there was definitely a reason why, well, 9 days ago, I needed to have these profound treatments. So I'm going through this stage of hardship, of homelessness. So let's see how my strength is developed, my ability to cope in a new country, a different country, progresses. Yeah, let's see how that goes. So I'll let you know. So until then, link up with me. Let me know where you are in your life right now. What traumas, barriers, blockages that you're going through, on an emotional or psychological or physical scale. And if you've had treatments, and if you've had energy clearing and cleansing, how it's helped you or not helped you. Let's go through this together and learn from it. And I will let you know how things go on my side. So until then, take good care of yourself. Bye.